Welcome to Authentic Wealth and Wisdom with Ty and Tamia, where we discuss the wealth and wisdom of being authentic, mind, body, and spirit.
And this episode, we're going to be focusing on the heart chakra, which I'm really excited about. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. So your heart chakra, just real quick, just like
Yeah.
some basics of the heart chakra. Your heart chakra is represented by the color green. Your heart chakra is obviously at the center of your body, of your chest, where your heart would generally be located, like your actual physical heart.
Mhm.
And it's all about emotions, right? It's all about love, it's about
Mhm.
self-worth, it's about worthiness. So all of the emotions that we may be feeling, whether it is overactive, underactive,
Mhm.
is going to be happening mainly in our heart chakra,
Mhm.
the source of that. So before this episode, we were just reviewing a few things, and one thing that stood out to me personally about
Mhm.
the heart chakra
Mhm.
was forgiveness.
Yes, 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 yes. I
Like,
love that
yeah.
because forgiveness is tied to compassion.
Mm. And what's so funny is that a lot of times when we think about forgiveness, we think about forgiving other people. And then, like you just said, compassion, having compassion for other people.
Mhm.
But it's so much more valuable to have forgiveness and compassion for yourself.
Yes.
Like, if we can think about the things that we've done in life, and maybe, things that we've fallen short at, or we haven't done our best, or we weren't proud of how we responded or how we acted. There are so many things that have happened in life that we beat ourselves up for all the damn time, and
Mhm.
it's almost like you can't get over it, because you still like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe
Yeah.
I said that. I can't believe I let that go on. And we don't have any forgiveness or compassion for ourselves, because when we're in relationship with people, no matter what capacity that may be in, we be quick to forgive people of they bullshit and they shenanigans. But when it
Mhm.
comes to ourselves, it's like we get stubborn, or we get
Mhm.
like stuck to where it almost feels like we're not worthy enough to even forgive ourselves or show
Yes.
ourselves compassion.
Yeah.
It's like we be beating ourselves upside of the head all the damn time, and it's like, whoa, brother, show yourself some love and some compassion. But when
Yes.
you think about that, who taught us how to do that? Who taught you how to forgive yourself?
Hmm.
Who taught you how to show compassion to yourself?
Hmm.
Who taught you what it means to be worthy of something? Especially on an emotional basis, right? People
Mhm.
only think of worthiness as it relates to obtaining things, right? Oh, you're worthy of this because you went to school and you got a degree. That means you're worthy of this job.
Mhm.
Or you did A, B, and C, and that means you're worthy of this tangible thing. But who taught us that we were worthy to not only receive love, compassion, and
Mhm.
forgiveness, but to create it for
Themselves.
ourselves?
Yes. Yes. I'm gonna piggyback off what she said. You said that who taught us that a lot of times when we think about our childhood, think about a time where most of the time your mom said apologize to your friend for
Mm,
saying those words,
mm-hmm,
but she never says apologize to yourself for making that statement
mm,
that you made to that kid,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
Which, and that when you say that, I feel like you're taking a different approach because now you're allowing this kid to hold responsibility for what they said and
Right.
also honor that feeling
Mm-hmm.
of what you said.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times we feel like other people are worthy of being forgiven, but why you don't feel like you deserve that same forgiveness?
Mm-hmm.
It's this life.
Yeah.
We all make different mistakes, so you have to find it within yourself to learn how to forgive yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because that emotion, although you may come out to the world like I'm okay and I apologize to her, it's very important that you forgive yourself because that
Mm.
energy will be held in this space of your heart.
Mm-hmm.
um a lot of people don't understand that anything that is not energetically move through your body, through your voice, or
Mm-hmm.
express, because we are energy, it stays there,
Right.
and your heart becomes heavy,
Yeah.
right? And when your heart is heavy, it creates more problems within your body. You have to think
Mm.
about your heart is the center. The center, this is right here is your center. So whatever you hold on to is going to back up every other system that comes behind it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's very important that we learn to show compassion when we make bad decisions, or
Yeah.
when we allow this person to do whatever it was that hurt us internally.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge it, because number one, we need to acknowledge it because we don't want to do it again,
Right.
right? And we also want to have a clear understanding of what those emotions are
Mhm.
that comes with that compassion for self, that forgiveness for self.
Yeah. That's so true. And you talked about things being like backed up when we're not properly expressing. And if,
Mm-hmm.
if you've been watching the videos, with every chakra we've been talking about what can happen when a chakra is in
Blocked.
blocked.
Mm.
And on a physical level, like
Yeah.
have you, I'm sure y'all have heard of people that die from a broken heart and things
Mm-hmm.
like that,
It's
because
real.
that's energetic, right? It's emotional. Your emotions are energy, and again, if not properly moved and transmuted, it can cause actual ailments in the body.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, it was a place where I held a lot of anxiety
Mm-hmm.
because I was not properly expressing how I felt about certain things, certain people, certain places, right? Because I'm thinking about, again, the worthiness and not
Mm-hmm.
understanding that my words are worthy, my emotions are valid, for feeling how I feel about whatever situation that may be. And so it caused a myriad of problems that I didn't see at the time that were all connected, but it did start with my heart and being able to again properly address those things and then transmute it. And so since we're talking about, again, emotions,
Mm-hmm.
there are my actually I'll just tell y'all my main way to process my emotions is one, through talking, and two is through journaling.
Mm.
Journaling is always really helpful for me to be able to just get out what I need to get out, especially if I'm feeling a blockage or if it's
Mm-hmm.
feeling that there's something that I need to express, especially under the circumstances where maybe somebody wronged you or hurt you and you aren't
Yeah.
able to talk directly to them. Like you're past the point of a conversation with
Mm-hmm.
them or being cordial, to get that closure. Writing it out and then either burning it or ripping it up and flushing it down the toilet
Mm-hmm.
or throwing it away is a representation of that energy being able to come out of you, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
just not stuck in your body,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to understand that, again, you are worthy
Yeah.
of these things. You are worthy of being able to release what is causing any heaviness within you. You don't have to hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not your burden. And so you have to have this mindset of like, okay, I can't stay here forever, and
Mm-hmm.
there is something better for me on the other side. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this just isn't my burden. This just isn't my stress or my
Mm-hmm.
anxiety to carry for the rest of my life. It is to be expressed. That is
Yes.
the whole purpose of emotions and feelings, is to
Yes.
be expressed,
Yes.
because why else have them?
Right. I was gonna piggyback off of something that you said earlier. You said that when people have, died from broken hearts.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think of it as we have emotional garbage that needs to be taken out from time to time.
Mm.
Think about, like when you have a heartbreak, you can't see your heart breaking, but it feels so strong that you just
Yes.
like, oh my God, it's in my body.
Yeah.
And some of us, we don't acknowledge that feeling. We don't cry it out. Like, crying is a form of releasing. Same
Mhm.
thing with Tamia said, like some of the ways that she releases, journaling and talking. Same thing for me too. I'm gonna
Mhm.
talk my ass off,
Okay.
okay?
Yep, yep.
um and we both will talk. We literally will talk for hours, us.
Yes.
But that's a form of expressing. We have to understand that we are energetic beings, you know. So a lot of that emotion from 5, from 6, from 7, from what your mom done to you, what somebody bullied you at school, is all here.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times we go through life being heavy,
Yeah.
you know.
Resentful.
Yes, and it also, it's, now that I have been on this journey, I can even see when people, not necessarily see, but I can see if they're holding on to so much, because it
Yes.
kind of, it kind of it kind of shows in the way that you operate with people, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
And before we started this podcast, I was telling her, like, the heart is, again, the center of your heart, right? And it's for healing, it's for
Yeah.
self-love.
Yeah.
And it's also associated with the color green. A lot of times when we're on our healing journey, especially for the people out there, they're detox and, focus on clean eating. A lot of times they tell you to eat a lot of plants. What
Mm-hmm.
color are plants?
Green.
Green, because they're healing this part of your body, which is very
Mm-hmm.
essential. Again, it's the center. it,
Yeah.
it tell you, it literally, again, it's emotions that's here.
Yeah.
And I think it needs, at the end of the day, we need to learn how to express emotions so our hearts won't be so heavy.
Yeah.
Prior to this podcast, I was telling to me, I was reading something about, ancient time, like Egyptian times, and they would say that they would communicate with people through their eyes, and they would, like, measure their heart, right? And I'm
Mm.
like, why the heck they measuring people's heart? Or
Yeah.
how you get a, like, at a grocery store, you would measure, is how many pounds this is, right?
Right.
So
Right.
back in these times, they would measure, like, your heart, right? And if your heart was heavy, that means that you're holding on to a lot of things that you need to release. That means you're not equipped to move forward, to be a leader, to be a leader to kids, or even be a teacher to anybody, because you still have resentment there. You have emotions that has not been processed.
Yeah.
And again, the again, what I was saying about the heart is, you have to learn how to lead with love, even in the times that you don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And your heart will remind you of that, because when you're operating from a place of genuineness, authenticity, and love, you won't have the certain thoughts when it comes down to certain people, if you've processed what you've needed to process.
Yeah. And while you were saying that, and you were talking about how in Egyptian times, like this is how they would, read you to understand you and
Yeah.
see where you were. I remembered that when you, like you said, your heart is the center, it's the
Mhm.
centerpiece. And so I like to think of it as, this is
Yeah.
the heart is the altar. Like you come to the altar of your
Mm.
heart, right?
Mm.
It's the center of your being. This
Mhm.
is where you check your intentions, right? This is where you see if your heart is in the right place with how you are conducting yourself.
Mhm.
What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Why are you responding the way that you are?
Yeah.
Why do you feel the way that you feel? So, this is where you come within yourself to evaluate who you are, to be able to uncover and unveil certain things, because it is the most vulnerable space
Mhm.
within yourself, within
Yes.
your being. And so you come to the altar of your heart to check yourself,
Mhm.
right? To do a self check of where am I?
Yes.
So when you're in relationship with other people or with yourself, you have, again, you're asking yourself, what do I feel?
Mhm.
And you name it. And then you say, okay, why do I feel like that? And then you name those things. And then you say, okay, where do those things come from? Where did that start? Whether it's good or bad,
Mhm.
because you have to understand where your intentions lie in all things.
Mhm.
Because if you don't know why you're doing something, it's empty, it's
Mhm.
null, it's void. But you find your intentions at the altar of
Mhm.
your heart.
Mhm.
This is also where you bring things, right? When you think of a physical altar, like whether it's when you go to the altar at church, or those of you that practice traditional African traditional practices, and you have like an actual altar set up, it is a place where you go, where you lay your burdens down. It is
Mhm.
a place where you go to purify yourself. It's a place you go to cleanse yourself. It is a very vulnerable but yet compassionate space,
Yes.
which is why the compassion is so important, because we all have parts of us that we don't like.
Mhm.
We all have parts of us that we don't like, or that we don't like to look at, that we
Mhm.
don't want to see. We all have emotions sometimes
Mhm.
that we don't want to feel.
Yeah.
But the altar of your heart is where you come in that safe space in compassion towards yourself, to be able to weigh your heart, like you were
Yes.
talking about,
Yes.
that of self examination, to really see where you are. Like, where are you
Mhm.
emotionally? Because where you are emotionally is where you are mentally
Mentally.
and energetically. Is the frequency that you're creating. Emotions are an energy. So it's important to know where you are, or else you're not going to understand why you're making the decisions that you're making. And you're also not going to understand why you're attracting the things that you're attracting, because you haven't gotten to the true intentions of your heart.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are afraid to look at that,
Mhm.
because they don't want to think that their intentions are bad. Everybody want to think their intentions are good all the time. No, sometimes
Mhm.
our intentions are selfish. Sometimes our intention is only to fill a void, or
Mhm.
to have a very superficial experience.
Yep.
But if you check it, and if you're not afraid to look at it, you can always shift that. You can always transmute it. And it's real corny, but they always say you can't heal what you don't reveal. And your
Yes.
heart is the place that you come to do that. But it does require compassion. And if you find yourself wondering why you don't have compassion or forgiveness for yourself, again, that's something that you come to the altar of your heart and you ask yourself. You come to that's It's like the secret place within you, and say, why can't I be compassionate with
Right.
myself? Why do I have a hard time forgiving myself? And it may take you back to experiences like you were talking about with parents or whomever else, where you may realize in that moment, like, damn, I was never shown compassion about any damn
Exactly.
thing.
Right. Because when you start to ask yourself them questions, you will realize that a lot of what you feel, your stubbornness, you not processing anything. It started from a place.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, if I'm in a room full of rotten apples, if I'm around enough, I'm gonna get rotten too,
Right.
right? So when
Right.
you're processing this, I never said, again, anything that we talk about, we never said that any of this is gonna be easy. But
Right.
if you want to live in a true authentic life, that is led with love, compassion, happiness, bliss, you
Mm-hmm.
have to get down to the root.
Yeah.
We have to get down to the root. And I,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about a song right now
Mm.
when I say this. But you have to get down to the root of what caused you to be this way, because it derived from somewhere. You saw it
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, and also have I was gonna say, if you really trying to figure out like how do you show compassion for yourself, write yourself a love letter.
Mm.
Think about all the things that you want to tell yourself. Like, you just write down all the things that you feel like you love about yourself.
Mm.
And just like what you said earlier, when you were saying that, we all make mistakes. We not perfect.
Yeah.
What you beating yourself down about is, you did it. Forgive, move on,
Yeah.
because that situation is in the past. It no longer exists. So why are we giving so much energy to something that is no longer here? That
Mm-hmm.
experience is not currently happening. If it's
Mm-hmm.
something that you haven't let go of in your heart,
Right.
you have the capability to be the destroyer and the creative of what you want.
Yeah.
So if we know we are the creator and the destroyer, okay, so a valid question when we start to think about families and kids
Mm.
is, how high expressive I am. If do I want my kids to be that way?
Right.
Do I want to continue this behavior,
Mm-hmm.
this lack of compassion, and pass it down to this person and this person? Because at the end of the day, we all got a dark side too.
Right.
When you looking in the mirror, do you like not having compassion for yourself?
Mm.
Why, ask yourself, why do you hate yourself so much?
Yeah.
Who gave you those thoughts?
Yeah.
Who gave you that thought, and why did you put your name next to it?
Mm. That's good, friend.
Why did you put your name back to it?
That's leading me back to a conversation that we had the other night when you brought up like the experience that we will want the generations after us to have, our
Yay.
children. And we were talking about um how it doesn't make any
Mm-hmm.
sense for people to say, well, I want to be the mother that my children never had. I
Mm.
want to be the father that my or I want to be the mother that I never had, or I want to be the father that I never had. That, first of all, your children don't have any baseline or starting point of what that
Mm.
even is.
Mm-hmm.
And second, this is a completely new life that may not need you to be the mother or the father that you never had. They need you to be something completely different
Different.
for
Mm-hmm.
their upbringing. But that comes back to coming to the altar of your heart and examining those experiences that you may have with your parents or your caregivers, or whomever, and really forgiving them,
Mm-hmm.
letting that shit go.
Yep.
Not saying that you have to just magically get over that. We're not saying that, because we understand how deeply trauma can go, and it takes time to process and to heal.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point you have to understand, or your end goal of the processing is to let it go and
Mm-hmm.
to let it be, or
Mm.
else it will be the driving force and the motivator of how you interact with everybody and everything, and again, even your children. If that's what's driving you, I want to be the mother I never had, I want to be the mother I never had, your that drive and that motivation is from trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be driven by trauma. You want to be driven by your highest excitement. You want to be
Highest
driven
wellness.
your highest wellness, your highest good. You want to be driven
Mm-hmm.
by healing and peace and love. But even when we say things like that, we don't even understand that, again, trauma and negativity is driving us to do even something that we think is
Mm-hmm.
positive, but it sometimes it becomes more detrimental than it is healing. But
Yeah.
we're not thinking as deeply as we can about certain things, and how, like you just said, you are the creator and the destroyer. And I think sometimes we think too little about how much of creators that we are, where we don't even understand, not only can you just do the opposite of what somebody did, you can create something new and
New, yeah,
completely
you could write a
different.
whole new story.
You can write a
Whole
whole
new, you
new
could story.
story. It don't
Like,
have to be based off of they did this and that's and this and that. No,
yeah.
how about you just make something
No,
completely new?
yes, and this another thing. When I tell people all the time, I'm not forgiving you for you. I'm forgiving you for
For me.
me. This was never about you,
Yeah.
because any situation that you go through, relationship, friendship, platonic or romantic, that that arrow gonna come right back to you, because you're
Mhm.
gonna have to ask yourself, why did you accept that? Why did you endure that? And
Mhm.
accept that that was the place that you was in that period of your life where you felt like that was what you was worthy of.
Mhm.
And we're in life.
Yeah.
We here to grow. We
Yeah.
ain't here to, we really not here to just get it right all done the first time.
Yeah.
So even with the questions that she said about, you know, I want to be a better mom. Some people say that, and you don't even know, you have not sat down to really put it all like out there to like, dang, I didn't get this from my mom. I don't even know if I didn't get this from her, how would I even know how to incorporate that into my new lifestyle?
Mhm.
So it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, we saying that, but too, I work with kids. I always say this, like, kids don't even know about no money. They don't know about none of, they need love.
Mhm.
They need love. I've seen
Mhm.
so many kids, and it's not just about kids, because even when you were a kid and you don't get the compassion and the forgiveness that you need, you grow up into a grown man and a grown woman, and that little boy, little girl still sits inside of you,
Mhm.
and you still have tantrums. It's just in a different way,
Mhm.
maybe a little bit more controlled, but because you was never told to forgive yourself and honor yourself, and okay, you made a mistake, let's move forward, let's get it out, let's express it. It's a whole lot of things you can do to get energy and get emotions out of your body.
Mhm.
You can draw, you can sing, whatever works for you. But it can, if you don't acknowledge it, it can really, really cause a hold up. And
Yeah.
especially in the Black community, there's so many of us that suffer from heart attacks,
Yeah.
just heart issues
High blood
high
pressure.
blood pressure. That's
Mhm.
because our heart's not right.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
don't, and
We holding on to
I'm
a
a just,
lot.
yeah, we holding on to so, and I get it because we've been through so much in this generation. But
Yeah.
at some point, we gotta let it be,
Let it
let it
be.
go, because again, we cannot take this emotional garbage 4, 5, 6 generations. Them same people that you mad about, them same people that told you who you are and what you are and made you feel the way that you feel and attach your name to it, they
Mhm.
gonna die off one day,
Mhm.
and you still gonna be in your mind, you still gonna be remembering that pain, and oh, then that such and such did that to me and I had to do it, so she gotta do it. You again, create and destroy. You
Right.
can destroy, acknowledge it, I forgive you, I forget, I release this, blah 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 blah. I'm destroying that and I'm creating a new script for what's
Mhm.
to come.
Mhm. Yeah.
And what does that look like?
Yeah.
And maybe you should start with the love letter.
Yeah. Because essentially what you're doing, you mentioned that little girl or that little boy still being inside of you. Essentially what you're doing is reparenting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you're giving yourself now, you have autonomy and you have the power to give yourself the love, the attention, the affection
Mm-hmm.
that you did not get. You have the power now to change the narrative and give yourself everything it is that you need to be whole. It's not up to anybody else anymore.
Mm-mm.
It's not up to your parents or, again, whoever your caregivers were. It is now up to you
Mm-hmm.
because you now have the awareness. It's yours now to do with it what you will. You can stay and sit in your trauma and wallow and have a pity party and blame everybody else for what happened to you. And yes, absolutely, a lot of that stuff is their fault. No, they wasn't supposed to interact with you like that. Like, yes, you was only a kid. You needed more nurturing. You needed more support. You needed more love. You needed
Mm-hmm.
more reinforcement. You needed more of a lot of shit. But that don't matter no more because you grown now
Mm-hmm.
and you have the power to change the narrative. It's about taking your power back.
Mm-hmm.
Take your power back. You can reparent yourself like you said, whether it's singing, drawing, even just giving yourself a hug.
A
When the last
walk.
time you hugged yourself?
When the last time you looked in the mirror and told yourself something just
Nice.
beautiful, like,
Yeah.
girl, you look good today, and just
Yeah.
smile. Or you could say, I'm here,
Mhm.
and smile. It
Mhm.
I think people put too much, I think it's the materialism,
Yeah.
because you could wear all the shit that you want to wear, but what's on the inside really does matter.
Yeah.
And I always feel like people who lead with the heart is always blessed.
Mhm.
Not
That's true.
saying that if you leave with other ones, you're not blessed, because there's a lot
Right.
of devils out here blessed.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's a different level of bliss. It's a different
Mhm.
level of peace. It's
So
a
true.
different level of, I'm if I'm in a certain conversation or if I'm in a certain atmosphere, I can just take my power back.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
Mhm.
I have that ability.
You do. Because you understand your worth.
I understand.
You understand your value.
I value
You
myself
value yourself.
so much. I value my heart. I value my soul.
Yeah.
And once you really, really start to feel that and embody that, you will not move the same. You will
Mm-mm.
not do things the same. We all done been through something.
Okay.
We all done been,
Life
we
be
got
lifing.
stories,
We
you
do.
know, but we chose to destroy and
Yeah.
create something new.
Yeah.
And when I'm saying destroy, meaning that situation did happen in the past,
Mm.
but I've already journaled it. I've already cried with her 5, 7
Yeah.
different times.
Yeah.
I didn't burnt the paper.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't went did a Pilates class, a yoga class, probably cried some more after that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I say after I release it? I said, I literally touch my heart and I say, I forgive you.
Yeah.
I literally look myself in the mirror and I literally say, I forgive you, Tajane.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. And
Yeah.
I give myself space to feel whatever I'm feeling in that moment.
Yeah.
And I say, from here on out, I'm going to honor you.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lesson that I needed to endure for whatever reason. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm tired.
Right.
Don't give me no more.
No, for real.
But that's just the world that we live in. I can't avoid every single thing.
Yeah.
I just have to take the lessons that come with it and
Mm-hmm.
move forward. I have to allow things to just be. I don't have to allow
Mm-hmm.
things to write my story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. And that's what comes with doing this work. and
Yeah.
holding yourself accountable.
Yeah. So come to the altar. Look, we're gonna do a virtual altar call.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Come to the altar, the seat of your heart, okay, the
Yeah.
most vulnerable place within you, the most authentic place within you.
Mhm.
Give yourself permission, like you were just saying, to hold space for yourself, to feel whatever it is you may be feeling in
Yeah.
that moment, no matter how uncomfortable. Allow yourself to feel that. Even if you want to put your hand on your chest, allow yourself to feel that pain.
Mhm.
Allow yourself to feel that disappointment.
Mhm.
Allow yourself to feel that anger. Allow yourself to feel that resentment about that situation. And then once you have felt that, like Ty just said, say it's okay. I forgive
Mhm.
you.
I forgive you.
You did what you could with the information that you had at the time. Even if you knew better, you say, you know what? I knew better, but I promised myself I'm going to do better
Mhm.
next time.
Mhm.
I'm going to take the information, I'm going to take the experience, and I'm going to apply it to new situations in my life to where I don't have to feel like this again.
Mhm.
Or maybe even if it's just I don't have to be in a situation like that as long as I was in the last one, because you may
Mhm.
not get the next time right either. But
Mhm.
maybe it can go from you was in that for 6 months and the next time you happen you in it for 4 months. Then you in it for
Mhm.
2, and before you know it, it's down to what it needs to be, which is
Right.
zero.
Right. The boundaries.
The okay.
They didn't put security gates around this
I'm
thing.
trying to tell you,
You can't even get in because
you
I already said we ain't going back. We ain't doing that.
we ain't going back.
You know.
So give yourself permission. Come to the altar. If you want to find a physical place where you can go and just sit with yourself in meditation, you can do that, and it can be anywhere. That's what's so beautiful about the heart being the altar, is that you can come at any point and any time. If you need to go into the bathroom while you at work or in the car on your
Car.
lunch break,
Mhm.
you can sit with yourself at any point in time and go
Mhm.
into the secret place of the heart and hold space for yourself and create a space of compassion
Mhm.
and forgiveness and love and peace and joy
Mhm.
and vulnerability. And you can thrive there, right? With the
Mhm.
green. And I'm thinking about the way things grow and they flourish when they're
Mhm.
in good conditions. They're so green and so
Beautiful and
luscious.
pure, like
Yes, and full, right?
yes,
You create that environment within yourself so that you can thrive.
yes,
You
yes.
can thrive. This has been another episode of Authentic Wealth and Wisdom with Ty and Tamia.
Tamia,
Thank y'all for tapping in. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Show us some love. We appreciate y'all's presence. Thank you for rocking with us. We will catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.
peace.